Hey everyone, it's me, Andy.
And I'm Sean.
And this is a very special episode of Commander's Brew.
Yeah, this is our first deck reno. This is something we're offering to our patrons. From time to time, we're going to just randomly pick one of our supporters through patreon.com. And to give back to your generous donations, we're going to do a little deck reno. What that is we're going to take a deck of yours, maybe a deck you're working on, maybe a deck that you have, maybe a deck that you're not happy with, whatever. And we're going to just give it the once over.
Yeah, just, slap a new coat of paint on there. And
New
some
finish.
Some primer.
Yeah.
Some weatherproofing.
Got some nice deck parties out there.
Add some chairs.
Yeah,
maybe
yeah.
a little fire pit.
Yeah, a little ceramic squirrel holding a bowl.
We're very happy with the name of this segment.
Yeah. Yeah. But this...
Mostly because of the fact that Nicol Bolas is wearing a little construction hat in our...
Oh, that random decision has entirely informed the aesthetic of our whole podcast.
It's so funny because it doesn't have anything to do with the name of the podcast. Because remember we were going to call it like construction or something constructed, like build or deck build.
Yeah,
remember?
yeah.
And then so we laughed at that image, and then we were like, oh, it's called Commander's Brew. That's a good name. And then the image just stuck. So now it makes sense.
It makes sense now.
Yeah.
Finally, after a year.
Yeah, exactly.
But thank you. So this week, this time, it won't be every week, but we'll do these fairly frequently. This is Sahar. So thank you so much. He sent us forward a Trostani deck.
Yes, a deck near and dear to my heart, as it was one of the first Commander decks I ever built. It is the first. Then I took it apart, built another one, which I still kept, but then I rebuilt this one later.
Okay.
Right. So it is technically the first one I built.
And it's your first reno.
It is. It's our first reno. It's my first deck I ever built. So I got a lot to say about Trostani. I love this commander.
Yeah, so let's read Trostani so we know what we're working with.
Sure.
Trostani is a legendary 2/5 Dryad, green, white.
Yeah.
Not a generic mana insight.
Nope.
Whenever another creature card enters the battlefield under your control, you gain life equal to that creature's toughness. Pretty good.
Yep.
1 green-white, tap, populate. That is to say, put a token onto the battlefield that is a copy of another creature token you control.
Right.
So obviously, we want to have a lot of creatures enter the battlefield. A way to do that is with a lot of tokens. You can populate the tokens. There is a life gain thing going on here. Sahar brought us a deck with a little bit of an enchantment sub-theme going on. There were a lot of enchantments.
Yep.
A lot of ways to recur enchantments. So, here's some of the things we decided to play with.
Right. Just sort of talking about Trostani overall, we have featured her on the show before. We built a deck or two around her, I believe.
Yeah.
There's a couple ways you can go with her. Obviously, the life gain aspect is huge. You can just use her as a life gain commander. Forget about that populate. Or it's kind of the other way around. You can focus on tokens and populating and just have this life gain as a pure bonus. And nothing says you have to focus hard on either of those things. You can sort of split it down the middle and try and get, bonuses both ways. And I think with Sahar's deck, that's what they were looking at doing. It looks like it's kind of there's benefit of life gain. There's some token usage, and like you said, there's some enchantment theme. So I think this deck will overall benefit from a little bit more focus.
Yeah.
Right. If you guys have listened to the show, what I assume you have, considering its patrons and listeners. But I love doing 3 different things with a commander deck. Right.
Oh yeah,
that's my favorite
best.
thing to do. But you have to make sure that one side isn't being ignored. And I think, like I said, just a bit more focus is going to help this deck out a lot, and hopefully that's what we can help provide.
Yeah, so one of the ways we made a little focus for that was just by cutting out a little bit. So you got to make room for cards, right? If you're going to put cards in, you're going to have to take cards out.
Right.
We did not take out any of the super badass, expensive cards that are in there.
No. As far as the budget side of us goes, we're not trimming this down for budget at all.
No,
There's
no.
reason to do that. Sahar has these cards.
It would be foolish to be like, this card's $20. Cut it.
Yeah, exactly.
No, man, keep that in.
Keep that in. It's a very good card.
Yeah.
But most of the suggestions we'll make won't cost too much.
Yeah, So our renovation will just be a little add-on.
Yeah, you don't need us to tell you that doubling season's good in a token deck. Obviously, if you have the $50 to go buy a doubling season, go for it. But we're not going to tell you that. We're going to try and find what we do, right? Which is like finding the cheaper versions of things and the little kind of hidden gems that you might not have thought about.
Yeah, so one of the ways we made room for these cards is by making a few cuts, and an easy thing to cut, in my opinion, was sort of like cards that mostly just gain you life.
Yeah.
Because Trostani is so good at it.
Yes.
You don't need other cards that do that.
They're really, it becomes very redundant, and unless it is the full focus of the deck, I don't think it's worth putting in other things. And Sahar even mentions, he says that when first building the deck, it was a life gain style deck, but now he wants to change it up to offer some different play styles. So I think this is one way we're going to do it.
Yeah.
And I think that includes like cutting basically the life gain cards, right?
Yeah, the Soul Sisters, they're out. Cutting the boon was there's a boon enchantment that just doubles the life that you gain.
Yeah, Boon Reflection.
Boon
is in
Reflection.
here.
Nah.
I don't think that's like that just doubles your life, but Trostani gains you so much life if you're just playing creatures. Like all she asks of you is that you play creatures.
Yeah, even a Johnny's Pride Mate, which benefits greatly from gaining life. He gets a +1/+1 counter every time you.
Is that gaining greatly though? You get 1+1/+1 counter in every instance of life gain.
Yeah, I mean, in Trostani, that could, like, if you just drop 5 tokens, that's +5/+5. Like, that's pretty decent.
It's decent, but it is just a big.
It is just a big dumb creature. Yeah. So
like I don't include a Johnny's Pride Mate in my Karlov deck that I have, which is all about instances of life gain.
Yeah.
And I don't miss it. I don't need a big giant thing. I don't think it helps. It enters Trostani as a 2/2, and it gets bigger, which can be great. But like, I don't know. I'm not that like blocked by tokens all day.
Yeah, if you had a way to give trample,
removed, yeah, which isn't really a thing here, I don't think.
No, that's not what we're doing.
So, anyways, the bottom line, I don't think a Johnny's Pride Mate is good enough in this deck, or in Commander, really in general.
I think we might differ on whether or not we want to keep Sunscorch Regent or not.
I love this card.
I do too.
We both love this card a lot. And speaking of Karlov, it's an all-star in Karlov deck. In that deck, it's a real deterrent for attacking. Even people won't attack because they don't want you to gain all this life. They don't want you to have all those triggers. In Trostani, you're already gaining a bunch of life anyway, so gaining one more when I attack you with my 6/6 I don't think is going to do that much.
Wait, no, that's not Sunscorch.
Yeah. Also, though, it gains life when it happens.
No, Sunscorch is whenever you cast a spell, it gets a
Oh, it's cast a spell. You're right. It's not attack. I'm
Yeah.
thinking of that big Kitsune thing. That's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
Right. Sorry. Sunscorch Region is, just some people stop playing spells. Same thing.
Huh.
Here they won't. They'll let you gain the one life you get and make your dragon bigger. So it's like a Johnny's Pride Mate, sort of, but like
With evasion.
much better.
Yeah.
I think it's arguable whether or not you can keep it. I wouldn't, because I don't think you need anything that gains you life. I don't think it's worth it. I think
another one
you'd
that
be better served with something that makes tokens.
I cut out Spike Feeder. Spike Feeder and Suture Priest. I guess Suture Priest is sort of a soul sister.
You know what? I thought about suggesting he cut Spike Feeder, but it goes infinite with Archangel of Thune, right?
How so?
I don't know. I just know that it is part of a combo with Archangel of Thune.
Okay.
Somehow. It's about gaining life and putting counters on things. You make all your creatures infinitely large, I think, because whenever you gain life, you put a counter on something, and Spike Feeder takes a counter off to gain life. Yeah, that's how it works.
That's right.
So,
yeah.
that's good. That's a 2-card combo.
Okay.
It's not an automatic win because you still do need to attack. So if someone can do something, I mean, it's probably going to be difficult. You're probably going to win if you get that off. So I figured that's worth keeping in, personally.
Yeah.
I think you cut it. I think you should take out like Serac the Hunt Caller.
Okay.
I didn't think Serac is that great, right? Like
giving one creature haste if you've got power 8 on the board.
Yeah, that's what it is. So giving one creature haste doesn't. I don't know. It doesn't seem like it's enough to warrant a full slot in the deck, right?
Probably. Because haste is not like trample is far more valuable than haste to us.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you still do need formidable,
which is easy.
It's pretty easy. But
he's got 5 to start with, so you only need 3 other power.
That's true. But I guess they're still. I mean, with him and Trostani, no one gets haste. You still need another creature.
Is Trostani is a 2/5?
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot. I thought Trostani might have been.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's 2/5.
Huh? Yeah, we still need one more creature.
So yeah, I think definitely there's better use of this slot. Now we're starting this off by saying what we would take out, right?
Yeah, just to make room for other things.
But there are a lot of great cards in here. Like, don't get us wrong. Like, this is
always the tough part about Commander, right? Because you could leave in a Johnny's Primate, you could leave in the Soul Sisters, you could leave in what's his name, the Sunscorch Regent.
Right.
You could leave all those in, and instead of taking away life gain, you could take away other things and add trample. Right, so now that's the point. You want to get these things enormous and just trample over. Like that could be the angle, but that's just not what we chose to do here.
Right, and there's a lot of great cards in here that obviously we're not considering you cut. Don't cut Parallel Lives, for example.
Never.
And even with the life gain thing, don't cut Archangel of Thune. Because you'll gain so much life with Trostani, it's very, very worth it to keep that card in there. It's just great. So what else do we have?
More tokens.
More tokens. I think, like, not that Sahar's deck was ignoring tokens, because it wasn't.
No.
There were some token creators in there. But I think you want to start off with tokens even before you get Trostani. So I suggested you put in something like the Splicers, right? A Blade Splicer is a really great example of one. It's a creature that you play for 3, I believe. It enters. It's a 1/1. It makes a 3/3 artifact golem, and then it gives all golems first strike. So yeah, there she is. I love these cards in Trostani. It's a way. Yeah, you play these early if you're not getting your ramp spells like you want or whatever, or if you're curving out nicely, play her on turn 3, play Trostani. Then next turn you're ready to populate that golem, and the Splicers all give some ability to their golems that they make, right? So there's, I believe there's a Vigilance one in white. There's one that gives trample. No, there's one that gives +1/+1, and then there's one that gives regenerate. They can all regenerate for 1 colorless. So
that's great.
You get a couple of those out, and all of a sudden, you're gaining 3. If you get the +1/+1 guy, you're gaining 4 life every time one comes out. That's every time you populate. You get that. I love the focusing on the populate. I love populating. It seems like you're getting away with something,
Yeah, well, you are.
Exactly.
You definitely are.
And so it's not just a straight up spell that creates just a token. It creates just a token for 3 mana and then gives it an ability, which is great.
Yeah, that's great. I personally, my favorite token card in a token deck, if you're playing white, is Twilight Drover. I think you got to include this one. 2 and a white, 1/1 spirit. Whenever a creature token leaves the battlefield, put a +1/+1 counter on Twilight Drover. There's that theme again.
Yep.
But this card lets you pay 2 and a white to remove a +1/+1 counter from Twilight Drover to put 2 1/1 white spirit creature tokens with flying onto the battlefield. Now, with Archangel of Thune running around, like, you can get a bunch of extra counters on this to just turn into spirits. This is a great way to go wide over the top and just attack people for a bunch that way. And then if they die, who cares? Twilight Drover gets even bigger, right? So again, here's another creature that you could throw the trample angle in here and just make this enormous. Like, one card that I was thinking about was Brawn, just to get that thing in your graveyard, just to give all your monstrosities trample, if you wanted to spend a card slot on it.
I think we should send Sahar like a comprehensive list of stuff.
Oh, we will.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what we're gonna do. Yeah.
Because I'm like, I want to mention like a million things here.
Yeah.
That we might not put in the video, but yeah, I there's a card in here called Wayfaring Giant. Let's bring up Wayfaring Giant.
Sure.
And because I don't understand why it's in the deck. Maybe you can help me.
All right, I'll look into it.
Because I don't see any combo or anything. So Wayfaring Giant's a 5 and a white, 1/3. It gets +1/+1 for each basic land type among lands you control, which is only going to be 2. So this is only ever going to be a 3/5 for 6.
I wonder if this
all
is
it does.
a typo.
Yeah, maybe.
Should this have been something else?
Is there another Wayfaring creature that's good?
I don't know. I can only think of Wayfarer's Bauble.
There's Wayfaring Temple.
Oh, that's
what he
it.
meant.
Wayfaring Temple.
There it is.
For sure, that's in
that's what
Trostani.
you meant.
Yeah, okay.
Wayfaring Temple, 1 green and white for a star that says its power and toughness are each equal to the number of creatures you control, and whenever it deals damage to a player, you populate.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I actually ended up cutting this out of my Trostani deck because my Trostani deck isn't super go wide, so this guy was never that big. He'd be like a 6/6 or something, which is not bad.
Yeah.
For 3 mana especially, and plus the upside of when he hits you populate. But I found it very hard to get in with him.
Yeah, because he doesn't trample. Again,
He doesn't trample.
Maybe trample's a good angle.
Maybe it is, especially if you want to keep this guy in there.
Yeah. Maybe that's the way to go. I don't know.
The thing is, it's easier to hit with him earlier because he's 3 mana. He comes down. He'll always be at least a 1/1. If you can swing it, like if you can play your splicers though a little early and get this guy in early as well, then you can kind of benefit from that. So I do think it's worth keeping in, and it's more worth it in like a +1/+, or sorry, not a +1/+1, but like a 1/1 token style deck because this guy gets really huge.
Yeah.
And then with some trample, you're just laughing.
Yeah. Another card that supports like a lot of tokens, like because you're running cards like Michaeloth, which are some of the best token generators there is. Right, every turn a whole bunch of tokens pop out.
Crazy good.
Crazy good. I want to highlight Regal Force. This was recently reprinted in Modern or Eternal Masters, so got pretty cheap. 4 green for an elemental. It's 5/5. When Regal Force enters the battlefield, draw a card for each green creature you control. Now, some of your tokens are not green, but most of them are. I went through a little scan earlier, and I noticed that very few things make only white tokens. Most of them make green and white or just green. So you'll have no problem drawing like a dozen cards off this thing. And this takes the place of a spell. You had a spell, Collective Unconscious, which draws a card for each creature you control. Why not also get a creature with it? Maybe you'll draw a few less cards, but I think, the difference between drawing like 10 and 13 cards is insignificant. So I'd rather have this creature and gain 5 life off Trostani.
Exactly. You're going to cast this for 7, get a 5/5, draw it's conservatively probably 3 or 4 cards.
Yeah.
And gain 5 life.
Yeah.
Good deal.
Yeah, always better to find a creature version of a spell for Trostani.
That was definitely one thing I found Sahar's deck wanted really badly was more ways to draw cards.
Yeah.
Because white isn't going to help you with that. So you got to get it out of green. Regal Force was definitely something I thought was worth putting in there. Shamanic Revelation is another one. It's just basically another version of that Collective Unconscious, I think. Isn't that what it is? That's the one that lets you draw cards for every creature you control, right?
And there's a
Shamanic Revelation does the same thing, but it also will gain you life if you have Ferocious. So that's very good and very much worth it. Also, another Mentor the Meek, if you want to go with those with more of a 1/1 strategy, keep your creatures under 2 power. Or if you want to go the opposite way, which is my favorite way of doing Trostani, Garrick's Pack Leader or Elemental Bond. Both are one's a creature, one's an enchantment, but it's whenever you get a creature that has 3 power or more, you can draw a card. Yeah, Elemental Bond's not a May. Not that it really matters because you're always going to draw cards from it, but Garrick's Pack Leader is. Anyways, but those I find are essential. Garrick's Pack Leader is what, a 4/4 for like 5 mana, so you gain 4 life off of them, and then you're just going to draw a card the next creature you play or populate, right? I noticed there was a lot of cool ways to make unique tokens. One of my favorite things about the populate ability is that you get a lot of cards that can just make copies of cards and stuff like that. Now, that's mostly a blue ability. Sahar does have the cool artifacts in here that do that for the most part. But there's also some other ones. There's a card called Echo Chamber, which is one where it's an artifact. You play it. I think it's like 4 to activate, and then target player chooses a creature that they control, and you get a token of it.
What?
And then you can populate. I can't remember if it gains haste, and
look it
then
up right
you have
now.
to sacrifice it or something. Yeah, let's look it up. It's right
Pulling
here.
it up. Okay, so this is a Tempest card. Echo Chamber. An opponent chooses target creature he or she controls, and you get a token of that on the battlefield with haste until end of turn, and then it exiles.
Yeah, so it exiles. So then you just quickly make a copy of it
Populate
with Trostani,
before it exiles.
and then you got it for good. So you just get one of their
Wow.
creatures, basically.
That's huge.
Echo
I never
Chamber's
knew.
great.
This is our surprises and discoveries section for me
Yeah.
of this little bonus.
This is the way to really, really take advantage of Trostani's abilities, right? We're talking about focusing. This will obviously see, like, you don't have to work to gain life with Trostani.
You don't have to.
Make tokens. That's how you'll gain your life, and you can protect her. That's very important. Get some boots, get some greaves, right?
Yeah.
Protect her. That's very important.
Yeah.
But other than that, just make tokens. You'll gain so much life. We used to was when we first started playing Commander. I had my Trostani deck. You had your Animar deck.
Yeah.
I think, and Butler had his Gisela deck.
Yeah.
And I was never afraid of Gisela, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Because that's double the damage, and then I only deal half the damage back. But I was constantly gaining so much life with Trostani that Gisela never, outside of commander damage, which I was able to block with angels, because I made that deck make a lot of angels.
Yeah.
But I was never really afraid of the damage coming in, because I would just gain it all back, no problem. With populating, it's great.
Populating is great.
So yeah, more card draw is essential in just about every.
Well, I highlighted a new one. I think it's Armorcraft Judge. It's a just brand new card from the new set of Kaladesh. It might be pretty good in this deck if you want a super budget. It's only uncommon, so you can pick this up for a gumball. 3 and a green for an Elf Artificer. When Armorcraft Judge enters the battlefield, draw a card for each creature you control with a +1/+1 counter on it.
Oh yeah.
So in this deck, that could also be the same as Regal Force or Collective Unconscious. You could be drawing like a half dozen to a dozen cards easily.
If you get Archangel of Thune.
Sure. Or there's a number of other ways that tokens are going around this. Although I guess if we're cutting all those, then maybe that's the only way.
No, not tokens, counters.
Counters, that's what I mean.
Oh yeah. So you do need to be able to put counters on things pretty reliably, which are there that many ways to do it in this deck?
Well, a lot. I mean, it depends how we cut it, because a lot of the cards give themselves +1/+1 counters. There's a lot of ways that just things end up having +1/+1 counters on them.
Oh really? Okay.
Yeah, like get a counter when you gain life, or get a counter when this happens, like a Spike Feeder, for example. Put counters on things. There was a lot of ways to put counters on things.
Okay. So if you got a lot of those, that's definitely worth thinking
Michaeloth
about.
has counters on it, right?
Michaeloth will have counters, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's if you got a ways to spread those counters around, this card is really good. It's basically becomes a Regal Force, right? Like you said.
But way cheaper.
Way cheaper and a bit smaller. Another thing that I found, just to sort of keep on the same theme as Echo Chamber, Seance.
Oh, Seance.
Same thing. It'll get you cards out of a graveyard though, and you can populate them before they disappear.
Cool.
And then when you've got those big guys, Growing Ranks is great. It's an enchantment that just lets you populate at the beginning of each turn.
Yeah, automatic populate. That's excellent.
Yeah, it's pretty good. What was I going to say here? We're talking about card draw. We're talking about this thing. Oh, yeah. So one thing that I found with my Trostani deck was having her untap for like 1 mana means that you can make 2 copies per turn now. And it costs 7 mana to do it because like you'll tap her for 3, maybe untap her for the 1 that the whatever artifact is that makes you do that. I can't remember the name of it now.
Is it Elixir of Immortality?
No, not of Immortality. That's the one.
1,000-year
Elixir and Mage-Right Stone. These are the cards I'm talking about. They'll let you untap things. I think Mage-Right Stone, you just tap it and it gets untap. But then 6 mana, and then if you got something like Echo Chamber out, you can make 2 of those creatures, and you might be making 2 Grave Titans or something like that. You know what I mean? Like the sky, or the sky. Yeah, the sky's the limit on that. Like the upside is very, very high, and the downside is quite low considering you will be gaining all this life from it. So. If you want, you can focus on that a little bit. Another way to take it is because you're going to be leaving mana up to activate the populate ability, perhaps as late as possible, just so you avoid any problems. It's nice to throw a couple instant speed things in here, ways to make tokens. And I see that Char already has stuff like swords and Selesnya Charm, which I'm a big fan of in Trostani because. It's a modal spell that lets you gain +2/+2 and trample to a creature, or exile something with power 5 or greater, or put a 2/2 white knight creature token onto the battlefield with vigilance. Honestly, all of those things are half decent. The +2/+2 and trample is probably the least relevant one.
Unless you got like a 2020 Sarah Avatar.
Exactly,
Or
yes.
Sarah Avatar would be like 100.
Exactly, right? Like there it becomes relevant. Destroying something with 5 power or greater, or exiling it rather, is very relevant. And actually making the 2/2 with vigilance, sometimes you just need a token to start the populate train rolling.
Yeah, I guess.
Sometimes. And on turn 2, you're probably not going to wait. You're probably going to wait for that middle ability or for when you need trample.
I'm torn on this card. I feel like the knight is kind of like I would mostly have this for its middle ability to exile a creature.
It is. That's what it is best for.
So I kind of feel like personally, when I was looking things over, I was planning on cutting this and putting in a second harvest where you just double all your tokens. That instant from Shadows of Innistrad.
That's worth it.
Put a copy of every token that you have on the battlefield, especially if you've been using Echo Chamber or other Seance to get crazy token creatures that aren't just knights and centaurs. Like, I would love to copy my, like weird titans and things.
You basically have to treat Selesnya Charm as like conditional Swords to Plowshares.
Yeah.
Which I think is fine.
Oh, it's fine.
But Advent of the Worm is also good. Again, these are cards that Sahar has in his deck currently. So I like the ability of keeping some mana up and then being able to do different things with it as the route is a great one.
Route.
Because if something happens and you're leaving up your stuff to populate, you're like, oh, wait, I should just board wipe. So pay 7 for an instant speed board wipe.
Yeah.
Instant speed board wipes are something no one ever sees coming.
Route, there's the Theros block one. Destroy all creatures and planeswalkers, and if it's your turn, scry 2.
Oh, and it's instant. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. What's that called? Faded.
Fade into eternity.
No, it's called Faded something because that cycle.
Fated
is all
Retribution.
called Fated Retribution.
Fated Retribution.
Ah, excellent. That's something I should really use more. Because it costs a lot, right? It's like 8?
7.
Oh, it's 7.
7.
So it's same as Route. Decent. Yeah, instant speed board wipes are great. And especially in a deck where you're leaving up mana for other things, it's even better.
Oh, Brainstorm. Oh, Arachnogenesis.
That's a blue card.
Arachnogenesis.
Oh, yeah, Arachnogenesis for sure.
Like that, like you just make 1,000,000 spiders for all the attacking creatures, populate targets, gain a bunch of life. Spiders don't take damage in this combat.
You'll gain so much life. Those spiders will have 2 sized butts.
Their butts are 2.
Yeah, their butts are 2.
They're 2 butts.
Let's see here. What? Okay. Oh yeah. Speaking of board wipes, Phyrexian Rebirth is a must in Trostani.
A must.
Obviously, you'll kill everything, but then you get the large horror creature, a black horror actually, which is interesting. You are allowed to play it though. And it'll just be this big creature, and then after that, you play your Trostani, and then maybe you can populate it a bunch of times.
Yeah.
So it's a great board wipe, and I know one that's where is it? Oh yeah, the card that you and I both love.
Yeah.
This might be the card that like you and I both like we really meet on this one.
Yeah.
Like this is like the convergence of both of our favorite things.
Our Venn diagrams.
Yeah.
Of my circle of the Venn diagram of the love of X spells.
And then I guess on mine it's like big tokens.
Sure.
Something.
And they cross at.
And then they make gelatinous Genesis.
Yeah.
Let's try and bring that up. You talk
Gelgen.
Talk about Gelgen for a second.
Gelgen. Gelatinous Genesis is, I think it's the first card I ever discovered with double X in it. So X, whenever there's an X casting cost spell with where the X's are 2 X's, they have to be the same.
Right.
You can't pay with different values for X. So basically it's like double. So it's green XX. So you can either pay green and 2 for X equals 1, green and 5, X equals 2, 7, X equals 3, etc., etc. Put X, XX green ooze creature tokens onto the battlefield. So, like it just gets, there's a point, I think, after like 7 mana where this just becomes ludicrous.
Yeah.
So like 7 mana for 3/3/3s, 7 mana for 9 power.
7 mana to gain 9 life.
Gain 9 life, 9 power on the board over 3 creatures, pretty good.
Pretty good.
But like 9 mana to
Yeah.
put 12 power on the board.
Yep.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty good. I usually cap it at 7. Like not like
X
really
equal-
forcefully.
Oh, I see.
But like usually I'll go, okay, I'm happy to cast this for 7. Especially if I have a Garrix pack leader on the board. Are you kidding?
Oh, drawing all those cards. Yeah. 7 is sort of the minimum.
9
for that.
power toughness, spread amongst 3 creatures, gain 9 life, draw 3 cards.
Yep.
It's like Garrix pack leader is so good.
It's too legit to quit.
Or if you want to make 2/2s, I guess you pay 5 for 2 2/2s, which isn't great. But then you might have your Mentor of the Meek, and then you can draw 2 cards off of it. I don't know.
But then you're paying 7 for the 2 draws.
Yeah,
I mean, if that's what you want.
great.
No, Gelatinous Genesis, you want to
Go
cast
big.
as big, right?
Go big. Yeah.
11 mana gives you. What would that give you? That would give you 10. So it give you 5 5/5s.
Very quickly, let's sort of, because we're kind of winding down to the end of this now.
Yeah, so to like, just to foreshadow the ending here. So we're going to send you a little text document or something of all the cards we talked about.
Yeah.
We're not going to give you a deck list because there's a lot of flavor and personality that gets involved. So we want you to like kind of make the decisions you want to make, which angle you want to go. But we'll kind of lump them into categories for you.
But I did want to just like kind of name a few cards that we haven't mentioned yet, both that were maybe cuts or maybe adds. I did want to mention Wolf Caller's Howl, which I think is like a kind of it's a card that like I didn't even know about, even though I had this commander deck, because it came in the mono green 2014 commander deck.
Oh yeah, that deck was dense with
It
good
was
stuff.
very good. And I got a lot of stuff out of it for Trostani. So here it is. Wolf Caller's Howl, 3 and a green. At the beginning of your upkeep, put X 2/2 green wolf creature tokens onto the battlefield, where X is the number of your opponents with 4 or more cards in their hand.
Wow.
Sometimes you just get 4 2/2s and gain 8 life with Trostani, and then populate wolves.
Wow.
Decent. I'll take it. I like this card a lot. Even if you just get the 1, it just sits there and it's an enchantment that isn't too intimidating, and people probably won't remove it. Because it's like, oh, well, we're all down to 3 cards. Only, Jerry with his blue deck has drawn 1 million cards, so we're fine. That's not even going to happen, though, because everyone's going to have 4 cards. People are drawing cards all the time.
All the time. Jerry.
This guy loves his blue decks, man.
And Jerry and his blue.
So I like Wolf Caller's Howl. I like Sylvan Offering. I like Phyrexian Rebirth. We already mentioned that one. I really like Angelica Cord. That's the one where if you gain 4 life in your turn, you just get an angel at the end, which also gains you 4 life. It doesn't like keep looping or anything, but every time you gain 4 life, you get a 4/4 angel. Like, yeah.
Gimme.
There's also that Moonsliver Spear, which I love. I love making angels with Trostani because it really combines the big green philosophies with the white ways to make creatures, and then they have flying. Like, please. You can pretty easily make a pretty crazy like angel tribal Trostani deck.
Man, so many ways to go.
Yeah, a lot of ways
but
to go.
I think you got a good core.
Yes.
Work that core.
Work that core. Get it focused, I think, a little bit. And you can focus it any way you want. Like, we didn't really talk too much about enchantments, but you could easily make this a life gain enchantment deck, and I think it'd be very happy.
For sure. So we'll send you a little in our file. We'll send you like our thoughts, and we'll kind of like lump the cards into sort of loose categories, so you can get an idea to just be like, oh, we'll take that like if these are the 2 categories that are important to you, cool. Put all those cards in and find some cuts.
Yeah. So not only do you get this video, you get a full like little breakdown of suggestions and for cutting and for adding and stuff like that. So.
Yeah, and for those of you watching, I hope this was at all entertaining. I hope it can be kind of interesting just to walk through a little deck reno. But we will be doing this from time to time for any one of our patrons, so we'll just randomly pick again.
Yep.
So we'll probably make an announcement in the next episode or two who is the recipient of the next deck renovation is, and then stay tuned for our next deck renovation.
Yeah.
After we do that.
Thanks for watching this one. Sahar, we hope it was helpful. And we will see you guys next episode.
See ya.
Bye.
If you want to contact us, you can do so on Twitter at Commanders Brew. Individually, we are
At Andy Hellbone.
and I'm at Sean Tabaris. Or send us a Gmail, commandersbrew@gmail.com.
Also, you can check out all of our decks on tappedout.net/users/commandersbrew. And you can go to patreon.com if you'd like to donate and help support the show.
And if you want to check all this out in one place, go to commandersbrew.com for all this info.